Welcome back to another episode of Misplaced Garage. The clips that I probably put before these ones are a pretty gnarly one of the 94 Cobra, this car out here. I ended up sliding that car at like 110 miles an hour. So I'm going to go see what kind of damages I got. I know that the clip from it was pretty bad and positioned horribly, so just ignore that, but there's a lot of bad sounds that happen. I recently picked up this Milwaukee 3/8 impact wrench, and this thing is a unit. It's gonna take lug nuts off in like no time. Here is some of the carnage. Yeah, you can tell the rock got jammed in there. You can hear gravel in the video. But it still looks to be okay to me. The wheel is pretty dang scuffed in there. So I'm gonna take this to a wheel shop and have them tell me what I need to know. So you might be wondering, how the heck did I go sideways at like 100 miles an hour? And from what I understand, I think I may have shifted from third back to second rather than from third to fourth as you normally do. My shifter was not set up properly. I actually contacted MGW, and what they told me is having the shifter aligned straight forward with the car is much better than having it at an angle. So I had it angled at me. So when I pulled, it comes back towards me, which is more prone to going into second than into fourth. So I fixed that. That's how the video sounds to me. I don't know exactly what happened. It all happened so fast, that sort of thing. I can't exactly recall, but I'm glad I am still alive and the car was not into a wall. So while I have that wheel looked at, I'm gonna continue working on this bad boy. This is a 1974 Triumph Spitfire with a 1990 Miata 1.6 liter 4-cylinder in it, because doubling the horsepower in an old car just sounds fun to me. Anyways, what I have to do is I have to reinforce the custom motor mounts that I built for this. Reinforce that center plate with the transmission where I mounted it, because I cut some metal out of there from the original factory cross member, so now I need to add some more support back in. Alright, so I went around and made 4 of these little triangles that fit right beside this to give this plate a little bit more strength, and I can weld onto this tube, and that way it has more it is stronger this way, because only having one plate on there doesn't provide much rigidity. So I'll get those welded on there and hopefully that'll help out a little bit. So I got this reinforcement plate kind of welded in here. I bent it right about there, obviously, so that it would go back over. And then I decided that just 2 tacks on both sides wouldn't be enough, so I cut some plates and then welded them against the frame on both sides. Doesn't look too pretty, really hard place to weld, but let's see if I can break this off. It's been a minute since I've taken a video, but I got the motor mounts reinforced. I think that might have been the last clip I was taking before this one. I also fixed the hole in my frame that I cut with this. This is actually material from the car. This is slightly thinner than what the frame is, but I couldn't get a metal that was the same thickness as the frame just because I couldn't find anything. This was like 0.2 millimeters thinner than the frame, so I'm not too worried about it. It seems to have held up okay while welding it. So hopefully it will work for the car for at least a little while. I'll find out in the future if it ends up breaking off or something. I will show how I fix this in a future clip. It's not very pretty, but it will work temporarily. Now I'm going to got the engine back in the car. Now I'm going to lower it down and see where she's sitting. It's so weird with a car this small and low. But my next plan is to fix the leaf spring with these little things. So I'm gonna pull the whole car forward and jack up the back end and take the leaf spring out, and hopefully this will fix the weird issue where this wheel is like cambered an insane amount, because like I barely can even fit 2 fingers in there, and the other side is like 3 or 4 fingers. So I'm going to pull the leaf spring out, replace these, fix up the leaf spring, and then my next idea, if that doesn't fix it, is this spring might be a little worn on this side, causing the whole car to kind of bend down that way, because that's a leaf spring that goes across the rear rather than holding it up at each point. This is for everyone complaining about me missing a lug stud back here, so I'm going to replace these ones and the one on the other side. I didn't order all of them just because I wanted to replace what I needed to replace, not everything. This is pretty old and crusty and cross-threaded, so some new ones are going on. Alright, well I don't know what day it is or how long ago I took a video. I need to start getting better about taking videos all the time. But I got this leaf spring painted. I ground it all the way down with like a flap disc on the grinder, got all the rust and all that jazz, and painted it black, and now I'm gonna reassemble. So I've got the rear suspension mostly put back together. You can tell that the leaf spring obviously has been painted, so that looks good under there. There's new bolts and new hardware and all that stuff. I also spray painted the tops of those bolts because they were just raw steel, and so that is known for rusting, obviously. Next, I think I'm just going to pull all this I believe somebody ran a electronic fuel pump on this car, but the original engine had a mechanical fuel pump, so I'm not sure what they had going on there, because it's only going to run as fast as the mechanical fuel pump, so somebody just didn't know what they were doing and threw that on there. Alright guys, well it's looking better so far. The angle is the same on each side of the wheel, so that's promising. Let's raise it up and lower it down and see how it looks. I did throw the 1-inch lowering block back in there, if any of you were wondering. Looks very high, that's for sure. But the camber is much better now. Yeah. I mean, it's the bottom's in on the car, but that's just because I can't drive it and go through a full suspension cycle.